Hi, this is Apocalypse Queen Radio with your host, author A.R. Shaw. I'm here today at the very last second with author Alex Shaw. It's always a technical difficulty thing. If you can't see him, here he is. We already have a couple of listeners.
Oh,
Um,
good.
I have to say, this is a copyrighted podcast solely owned by Authors on the Air Global Radio Network. Hi, Alex. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, Annette. I'm happy the technology's working. You know, it's 11 o'clock at night here, so if I don't look so energetic, it's because it's late. But I'm happy to be here.
Oh, good, good. So it's 11 o'clock there. It's 4 o'clock in my time zone. Anyway, so you and I've been buddies for gosh years,
We
and
have, yeah.
yeah. And one funny thing is that when I started becoming a little more popular, and people started knowing you at the same time, they thought you were my husband. Yeah, which is really funny. So I would get these messages. So years later, people really hadn't figured this out yet. And I went through a personal divorce, and I actually had a fan contact me who found out about this through back channels, and he said, "You know what? I'm going to go and talk to that Alex Shaw and give him a hard time." And I went, "No, no, he's not my ex-spouse." So that was so funny. Because
Yeah, no, it's funny having sharing the name. You know, I don't meet many Shaws, and so
right,
it's always quite interesting. But yeah, I had someone think one of your books was mine because of the same initial, the A Shaw.
right,
Um, my
yeah,
middle name's William. It doesn't begin with R, so I don't
right,
know what that was.
yeah. And I'm a girl, so
Uh,
Uh,
oh dear, oh dear.
okay,
So
so
yeah,
you just wrote well, you didn't just write, you just released a new, it's not a new series. Is it a new, tell us about Cold Blood and the
uh,
Aidan Snow series.
yeah. Well, the thing is, it's very funny because it's currently a three book series. Cold Blood's the first one. Then there's Cold Black and Cold East.
Okay.
And Cold Blood used to be called Hetman. It was originally self published back in
Right.
2008.
Okay.
And then I did the same, the follow up book, Cold Black, self published that.
Okay.
And then suddenly I thought, you know what? Should I try and get a publisher? And suddenly I contacted about four different publishers. I think I got two offers at the time. Went with a company called Endeavour Press, and so they published both of those, plus a third one called East. And then about 8 months ago, Endeavour Press, they decided that the two managing directors decided that they wanted to close the company and have their own independent companies. So Endeavour Press vanished,
Okay.
but both partners wanted to re-sign me. And at that time, I thought, hang on, you know, I'm I'm getting more readers now. Let's see if I can get a bigger publisher. So I contacted four different publishers, and I got three offers. And the nicest one at the time I got was from HarperCollins, so their imprint, HQ Digital. So there we go. So 6 months later, they've just re-released the books. So people
That's
that knew me
mhm.
are thinking, hang on, these are the same books.
Mm.
For me, it's my back catalogue, but for new readers, they're new books.
Right.
So yeah. So in the meantime, I've been quite lazy because now the books have been published two or three times, and each time it's a new book. So I
Great,
better write something new. So
right. That's great. What are you working on now?
apart from my tan, I just, yeah, I took some more books I'd written before that was for the Kindle World series,
Right.
and one of them I've added about 30,000 words to, taking it from 50 to 80.
Mm.
And Aidan Snow's in that, but as a secondary character. And that's about a French assassin called Racine, Sophie Racine.
Cool.
And that might come out next year with HarperCollins. Hasn't been physically given the okay yet, but it's with my German publisher, so it should come out with them as well. So we'll see. But I've got a couple other things I'm working on too. and it's an anthology that's coming out in December. So
That's very cool.
there we are.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. We have a couple of folks here, and Michael Don Gibbons. He's a fan of both of ours.
Oh.
Great. Hello.
Hello, Michael.
If you've got any questions, Michael, please post them. I do have some questions for you. So I often ask different authors what their writing life is like. What do you do during the day? Is this your full-time job?
It is. I'm also a stay-at-home dad. The thing is that, yeah, I take my kids to school and pick them up.
Awesome.
And in between, when I'm not doing housework, I'm trying to write. So it is, yeah. I mean, it's
a full-time job in and of itself.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose I've been a full-time author now for 10 years. And, you know, ever since my kids were born, 9 years, to be honest. And, you know, although funny thing is, we're living in Qatar at the moment. And
Qatar.
Yeah. Well, the funniest thing about the country is learning how to say it. Like the locals say Qatar, Qatar.
Okay.
I used to say Qatar, like something in your nose, but now I say Qatar.
Okay.
So we're living in Doha now, which is the capital city of that country, Qatar. And we have to get these ID cards, and the ID cards have your occupation on them.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I first came over, my occupation said nothing.
Wait a minute.
Your occupation is nothing. And when I tried to get a driving license, I couldn't get a driving license because I had no occupation.
Oh my gosh.
And they said to me, "What do you do?" So I explained, "Okay, we ought to change your card so it says husband." And so now my official job now is husband.
That's funny. It's different cultures, you know.
It is, yeah. And the locals laughed at me when it said nothing, and others laughed at me when it said husband. So I don't speak Arabic. Perhaps they wrote something different, but you know.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, do you want husband? Yes. Oh, good. So it's okay. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So your writing day. So you get the kids off to school, and then you
yeah, we have early starts here. I mean, I have to get the kids. The kids start school at 7:30 in the morning.
That's right.
So yeah, so I'm back here maybe 7:45, 8 o'clock, and then you know I try to start writing, to be honest, about 8:30 or so, sometimes earlier. Write for a couple of hours, and then see what I need to do. Sometimes I just go out to different places because I'm still kind of enjoying being in a new country.
Yeah.
Other times, you know, I must say, not as much as I should do. I occasionally go to the gym. Yeah, I should be going there a lot more, or swim. I should be doing that a lot more. But yeah, and then I might write in the afternoon as well. So yeah, I mean, on a good day, I can write all day. You know, I can get like a good 5 hours work done.
Yeah, I can only write maybe 4 hours a day. Then I'm just done. So we all do it differently. So it's interesting to see. Like I have to do emails and stuff in the morning first and get that out, promotion stuff. Then then I feel like I can write. It's a resistance thing.
I mean, do you find that like social media gets in the way? I mean, it helps you.
Yeah,
but also
it used to. Now I ignore a lot of it. I hate to say that, but it's just it's such a waste of time. That I mean, I will certainly check messages and respond to, just like emails. I will check them for anything I need to respond to.
Yeah.
Put it out of there. I know I need to get to work.
Yeah, I mean the thing with me is I'll log on to check something or try and post something, and then suddenly I'll find that I've got like 50 people trying to make me watch videos about cats or something.
Yeah.
And cats are great. Dogs are great. I mean, I'm not an animal person, you know. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't mind having a pet camel, but I mean, I'm not really an animal person. So when I see all these animal things, like, oh great, oh it's another cat. Okay, all right, okay. Oh, he's done what? That's lovely. You know, not trying to offend anyone. Works for dogs.
I haven't met Henry yet. My cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's outside right now.
He's on the tiles, is he? He's out on the tiles for the evening.
Mm-hmm. He's out for the day, doing his thing. Yeah. This cat, when I moved, he got lost. The airline lost him, and he ended up getting detained in Detroit or something overnight. And I'm like, how can my cat miss his next? Was he like, dawdling on his way to
Yeah.
what happened? Anyway,
Oh
we found
wow. Oh. Well, I was going to buy a pet parrot and bring it out here until I found the parrot checkered history. It was on a no-fly notice, so no-fly list, so it couldn't come out.
really. I've seen parrots on lists that are not okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
but
saw that post of yours with parrots. Was it about a year ago? You were in an airport, there's a parrot or something.
right, it was like at 2 in the morning. I had been bumped. I was coming back from Indianapolis, I think. I was at an event coming back, and it was I think it was winter. I was
Right.
and delayed for like 8 hours. 2 o'clock in the morning, I finally get on a plane to Seattle, and there are two dogs, two cats, and a parrot, a huge parrot that's loose. So
Wow.
I just couldn't believe it. I was like, really? This is just crazy. So it was funny to post and see the fans' reactions. I always have crazy
Yeah.
flying, stories to tell typically.
Well, I saw some hawks a few months ago when I was going for the airport here in Doha, and they had handlers, and I think they were going business class. The hawks. It was really, really strange. They weren't. They were being held, on a leather glove, and the
Right.
hawks on, and very, very strange. But I don't know. I don't know what happened. The one on my plane, that was quite nice, but very
That's,
strange.
well, I don't know if our readers would know this, but Alex, I mean, we all have kids that grow up, and as authors, we don't have a normal working um, situation. So
No.
being able to know people around the globe when you have young adult children traveling or doing things has been awesome for me because you were actually sort of in charge of my son while he was studying abroad in England. And at the time,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, like 5 miles from you, and you just said, nah, he'll be drunk the whole time, no worries.
Well, I never got the call, so
Never
if I'm
got the call. And
no.
yeah, but then just a few days ago, he calls me and he says, Mom, I'm in Copenhagen, got a cheap flight. What do you want for Christmas? And I'm like, oh, man, who do I know in Copenhagen? It was too funny. So anyway, it's been wonderful. And I thank you for, being the strategic person in case my kid ever needs help.
No,
So
that's okay. That's okay. Yeah.
I owe
Yeah.
you. Yeah. Okay. So what are you working on currently? Is it the next book in the Aidan Snow series?
um, no, I've got yet another book. Well, actually, I've got two that are kind of part written.
Okay.
Um, one is about an assassin, a Russian assassin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's basically a Russian assassin who realizes that he's working for the wrong side.
Oh,
So he realizes he's been used by the Kremlin and doesn't like it. He was patriotic when he realized that there's an agenda,
mm,
and so that's kind of about halfway done.
interesting.
There's also another book I've half written too, which is more crime. It's Nordic noir. It's got a
Oh,
Finnish detective who has to go to Kiev to investigate the death of someone he used to know.
that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I've got several irons in the fire. It just depends which one I should finish first.
And what did you do you have anything in common with Aidan Snow, your main character?
Well,
What-
we're
Yeah.
both tall, dark, and handsome, so that's one thing.
Yes, of course.
Well, yeah, it helps. It's a bind sometimes being beautiful. I tell you, obviously you know yourself. It's just the
Right.
fans, the letters, the people on
Yeah.
the street. Can I have a photo? Okay,
Yeah.
Um, yeah, Aidan Snow. Yeah, I mean, basically, in the first book is, I suppose you could say, is a fictional account of my time in Kiev, but I wasn't in the SAS. I wasn't a soldier. I mean, Aidan Snow lived in the same flat I lived in. He was from the same town as me. He worked at the same place I worked at. So, I think, to be honest, writing that first book was a type of catharsis. I was trying to kind of see if I could write and trying to get my ideas out.
Mhm.
And then once I'd written that,
Were you a
you know, I taught for a bit. Yeah,
Oh, okay. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
yeah. I taught a bit in Kiev at an international school there. Um, But then when I came back to the UK, I was working for Siemens, selling hearing aids, which is really bizarre.
Sounds like
Flying
Stephen.
around.
He did something.
Yeah,
Pharmaceuticals. Everyone does something before.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot of me in Aidan Snow. I think probably got the same kind of moral set and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I think he tries to be fair, but I mean, I tried to make him as a character that was more kind of rounded. I didn't want a character that was kind of like black and white, you know, a hero that does everything like a comic hero, you know, or
Right. You
you
need
know,
flaws. You need them
someone
to.
that says, "Yeah, you bad man, I'll shoot you now." No, I didn't want something like that, you know.
That's not working. Yeah.
No, exactly, exactly, yeah, yeah.
So what set you on the path to writing?
Um, I always wanted to write when I was a kid. I never really got the chance, you know, because
Yeah.
at school they'd say, "Oh, write a story about this," and I always ran out of time. Um, and so when I went to university, I studied drama, and
No.
yeah, oh yes, and part of the study was you could choose different aspects, and so part of it was writing for the stage, writing for TV and film, and so I learned a bit about that. But funnily enough, none of it was writing fiction, which is strange, like novels, you know.
Yeah.
And so I had some ideas in my head that were a bit silly. I had friends who were fantastic, you know, who could really be novelists. And then when I left university, I went to live in Ukraine, and I didn't have a TV for a while. And then I had a TV that only had one channel in English, BBC World, and it was in black and white for some weird reason. And so I started reading a lot, and I realised there were lots of books because I started reading books about the SAS, like the Gulf War and stuff and things. And
Yeah.
there were two British soldiers who became quite big authors, Chris Ryan and Andy McNab, and I started to read their stuff and other spy things.
Mm-hmm.
And I realised that everybody was writing about the same places. Everybody was writing about Moscow. No one
Mm-hmm.
was writing about Ukraine. And I thought, okay, I'm not an expert on the SAS or the military or spies, but now that I'm in Ukraine, I've kind of become an expert on Ukraine.
Yeah.
So if I write about what I know, which is Ukraine, and what I'm doing in Ukraine, and what I'm seeing in Ukraine and experiencing, then I can learn the other side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I did. And it was a hobby, really. I mean, my first book, it took me 12 years to write because I'm writing it on and off, you know. Sometimes I take a year off. And then I wrote about a third of it in like 4 months. I suddenly got the idea again, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
It comes to you.
so, yeah. And then after that, I thought, hang on, I can do this. And so the rest of it came faster, you know. I
Cool.
mean,
You got serious about it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think if a book took 12 years to write, I'd be as daft as, you know, George R.R. Martin, wouldn't I? You know.
Oh, I
When's
met.
the next book out? Yeah, I saw the photos of you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wasn't that cool? Yeah. He's not a funny guy.
No.
I mean, no, I mean he is. He's drab funny, but you know how we have like, our fan problems? The poor guy.
Yeah.
He has fan problems. I mean, and I think that kind of sucks your humor, makes you more cynical, you know.
Well, I think when you write a certain type of fiction, something that kind of people get fanatical about, you know, fans that are fanatical, you know, or the fans that are crazy. It's almost like a Star Wars thing, isn't it? You know, they kind of, you know, they're super fans, you
Yeah.
know,
You know,
where
I'm happy to be an author, but I don't want to be that famous ever.
yeah,
That's just
yeah.
how much I've seen it. I mean, he had guards watching him. I mean, he had to have security. It was scary.
Well, well, and which house were the guards from? Were they from Targaryen or
What else?
were they night watch? Were they from the Night's Watch?
He had security. Yeah, no kidding. No, he had security guards. One of them was author Simone, and I cannot remember his last name, but he's Royal Canadian, ex-Royal Canadian Police, and so
Was he was he
yeah,
on horseback?
nope, he was not on horseback, but he
Because
was,
I mean,
he was
presumably
watching.
George could afford the horse.
Right,
You
exactly.
know,
Yeah.
he's not going to go any half measures there. You know.
Where do you typically write from? From your home? Do you have a specific office, or is there a certain place you like to write from?
Well, I used to write on location. I used to go to places I was
Yeah.
writing about and sit there and write. You know,
Mhm.
like once I was sitting in a cafe next to the headquarters of the Ukrainian intelligence agency.
Wow.
and I was sitting there writing about the building next door. And another time I was in Russia, actually. I went to Moscow. I was in Gorky Park. I started writing in Gorky Park.
Okay.
That scene never went into anything, but I was writing there. So I used to do that. But and it's amazing what you can see. You know, if you're in the same place you're writing about, it's amazing, like the details you can see,
Right.
like colours of doors, or the temperature, or the smell of things. You know, traffic, etc., noises. But if not, then I'm, especially, you know, if not, I write at home. I mean, most recently I've been writing, you know, just in my kind of like living room here in Qatar. You know, I'll occasionally sit at a kitchen table and write, or if I'm feeling, you know, quite kind of, you know, debauched, then I'll go and write on the chaise lounge.
Okay.
You know, I'll go and write on the chaise lounge. You see.
Oh, there you go.
With the lights, you see, I'll kind of, you know, I'll luxuriate in the corner there. Because at the moment it's too hot to ride outside. At the moment, you know, it's a desert, so it's too hot outside. So
how warm is it there, like in Fahrenheit, if you can do it?
Yeah, funnily enough, I was watching a show earlier, a car show from Texas, and they had the thermometer on the screen, so I could guess what it was. In my figures, it's like 40s. In yours, in the US, that's what it's like, above 100, up to 110.
Oh wow, yeah, no, thank you. Yeah.
The heat's okay when there's no humidity. When it's dry heat, it's fine. But when there's, you know, when it's wet, that's the
Right.
worst. You know, because you come outside, it's like you're in a sauna. You know. I mean, I've had to start buying the mascara that's waterproof, because otherwise, you know, it's just awful. You know, like Panda and stuff. You know, it's terrible, really. But
One of our fans, mutual fan, I think, Cheryl Elliott, says, "Hey guys." So, hi Cheryl.
hello,
Nice.
Cheryl.
Yes. Let's see. I have a lot of other questions. So, what would you do if you no longer wrote and your kids grow up and you're like me, but you no longer wrote? What would you do?
It would probably be too late for me to get back into the ballet by then. So I'd have to. Yeah, I don't know really. I can't think now seriously a life about writing. I mean, I wanted to become an actor when I was younger.
You could be an actor.
I just matched training, you know. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, you know, both the roles that I want now, I haven't been shortlisted for, which I'm quite annoyed, actually. You know, the roles of either James Bond or Jack Reacher. You know, I can't do it. I can't do an American accent. You know, I mean, I've got the Tom Cruise hair, but I can't do the American accent. You know, so
they're in the United States. I don't know if you've heard this. They're looking for a new Jack Reacher for the television show.
Yeah.
Well, you know that because actually, he's your friend, isn't he, Lee Child?
Yeah, Lee Child. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've met him a couple of times. He's a very nice guy.
Yeah.
The very first time I met him, actually, I was introduced to him by an other author called Lee Russell. It's only water, I'm afraid. So I was introduced to him, and went up and shook his hand. He looked me up and down, and he said, "How tall are you?" And I said, "The same as you, the same as Reacher." He said, "I thought so."
Yeah, that's fun.
And it was just a bizarre meeting.
I have a story about him. I've met him a few times. He was at Thriller Fest the last time I was there, and my boyfriend is a huge Jack Reacher fan. So I picked up one of his books, and I went up to Lee and asked him to sign it. And he looks at me and he goes, and I said, "Can you make this to Tony?" And he said, he goes, "Sure. Who's Tony to you?" And I said, he's my boyfriend. And he scribbles something inside, and I don't look at the inscription. I just bring it upstairs. And later I open it and look at this inscription, and it says, "Tony, you're a lucky guy." And he signed it. He's such a cad. But it was fun. He's hilarious. He's very tall and just a great guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's an example of someone who's made it really big through hard work, obviously, not just luck. someone who's very approachable. I mean, I met him at the Crime Fest. It's a big event in Bristol, in England, each year. It's been over 10 years now. And I remember the day after I met him, he was just sitting in the coffee shop having a coffee in the corner, and nobody was kind of, you know, pestering him or approaching him. I was still a bit star-struck. I was like this.
Yeah, right.
And so I had to sit at someone else's table just so I didn't kind of like, ugh.
Yeah, right.
But then the silliest thing, well, not silliest, the strangest thing was that we had a gala dinner that night, that evening, you know, like awards ceremony and things. And it was all kind of, you know, set out who sat where, etc. And there was a big screen as you went into the event saying which table you were on. And I kept looking for my name, and suddenly I found my name on Lee Child's table, sitting next to Lee Child.
Nice.
And so I was completely starstruck again, even though I've been chatting to him before, you know, and I'm just sitting there and next to him, and he started pouring me wine, which I thought was quite nice, you know.
Yeah. He's a nice guy, yeah.
But yeah, no, it is nice when you meet people that are kind of, you know, big in the business, and they are nice people, you know. I can generally say that I think I've met a lot of authors, I know a lot of authors, and they're all more successful than me, you know, and I've only met a couple of people who I didn't like, and I'm not gonna mention their names at all. A couple that I didn't like, a couple that I found strange, you know, but everyone else was, you know, was all, especially in the crime and the thriller community, you're rooting for each other, you know, you're not afraid to help each other, you know.
Right.
It's just like a big club, really, you know.
It really is. Yeah. Yeah, there's always going to be one or two standouts, but we all have readers that travel to a certain genre, you know, and
yeah.
That's why it's good, I guess, to have those differences. Let's see. Donna Broussard says hello, and Cheryl says, I still can't figure out why he would allow Tom Cruise to play Jack Reacher. I don't think at the time he had a choice. It was one of those rights things where there's this funny. Yeah. You probably know more about this than I do.
Well, I was speaking to him about this about 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, and he wouldn't say, you know, because I quote, there was a quote he said that was that, you know, Tom Cruise has like 100% reach intensity, but like 70% of the height or something, you know, which I thought was being generous. And so I repeated that to him, and he just nodded and said, "Yeah." But the thing is, he's now come out and said that, okay, you know, the new Reach will be taller than Cruise was. But the funny thing is, as soon as you say something like that, people start to kind of try to kind of, you know, create some kind of animosity between you, even though there isn't one. You know?
Right.
I mean, to be honest, every Tom Cruise film he's in, you know, is Tom Cruise. But I really did like him as Jack Reacher. You know, I think the way they filmed it, you couldn't really see that he's 5'5" or whatever he is.
Yeah. I think it's 5'6". I don't know.
And but yeah, I mean, he does do a good Reacher, you know.
Yeah. The thing about Lee Child is that he's always funny. He's always joking. He has a very dry sense of humor, so you can never take him seriously. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah. I mean, if you quote somebody exactly what they say, and you weren't in the room or you didn't hear them, then it just look a bit different, doesn't it? Yeah, taken out of context. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So research trips, you don't really, you know, I used to do a lot of research trips. And now it depends. I'm picky about where I'm going and what I'm going to do. So are you about the same? You're kind of, it's not that you're limited there. You have a whole different world. You have a whole different experience to deal with.
Yeah. I mean, because I used to live in Ukraine, when I wrote about Ukraine, I kind of knew what I was writing about, and I could just walk out the front door to the places I was writing about. More recently, I had to do kind of more on kind of like, you know, Google Earth or Google Street View, etc. Which is great, which is excellent if you're a burglar. You know, you can see You can see which house has you know, security cameras or whatever. But I do travel quite a bit, and each time I travel somewhere, I think, oh, I could use this in a book. For example, you know, over this past year, I've been to the Maldives twice. I've been to Oman as well, and these are all interesting places. And we're going somewhere at Christmas, not too sure yet. But the thing is, I really want to write about Qatar, but I can't really, because if I write anything here that the authorities don't like, in theory, they might tell me to leave the country. It's
you can't risk that. Yeah.
You know, there's a friend of mine who's she works here and she's written several books, and her books got banned because of that they mention the country not in a bad light, but just in like an unusual light, you know. Yeah. And so I enjoy being here. Every country has its issues, and I've you know, I've not encountered any here, you know.
Right.
But I'm thinking I'd rather, you know, write something that's not so close to home now, you know.
Yeah.
I do like being here, and I'd hate to offend anyone, you know.
Sure. Yeah. So, maybe later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Is there? Do you plot things down like writers do whenever you write, or do you just let it come to you? Are you a pantser or a plotter?
I plot more than I used to. I mean, I kind of get about 10 bullet points, and I'll expand from the bullet points, or I'll kind of I'll be writing one scene and get an idea for another one and make a note of that. I've really tried actually now to try and write a fully structured outline for a novel, but it's.
I tried that.
I kind of get to a certain point and just want to write.
Right. Yeah.
To be honest, I think one of the benefits of actually having an outline is that you can very easily turn an outline into a tool when you're submitting to publishers or agents, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and that's one benefit of it, you know. Like you know, a synopsis, you know. But the problem is that the majority of writers I know, we have to write a synopsis after we've written the novel.
Right.
and trying to turn 90,000 words into 3,000 words, 4 pages that it says everything about the story is pretty impossible, you know.
My last book, I actually let the editor write the synopsis. I was just done. I couldn't do it. I paid to have the synopsis written. And she did. She did a great job on that. So it was all there, and she had to edit it. So it was great.
Exactly. Sometimes you're just too close to it, aren't you? You're too close to write it. Yeah.
That's a great, and editors do offer that many times, and that's wonderful because they have to through anyway. What is like or how many books have you written now? I haven't even looked.
How many books have I written?
Yeah.
I saw you ask this question to Steve Concoli, and he didn't know, and he said, "Hey, is it 15?" I said, "I can't make an accent, you know." Yeah, I don't know. So I've got to think now. 3 Aidan Snow novels.
Right.
Another one that's finished with Aidan Snow, that's 4. A vampire book I wrote a while ago, which I wrote it for the American audience, and I get fan mail on that, so that's 5.
I didn't know that.
Military vampire, yeah.
Wow.
It's called Delta Force Vampire. Was the idea for the series, and book 1's called Insurgency.
Okay.
Book 2 is called Black Ops, and I haven't written that yet. I've written about a third of that, so that's 5. What else have I written? I wrote a young adult book about time traveling double glazing salesman.
Cool.
So that's 6. Then I wrote 3 books for Kindle Worlds. 2 of those were novel length.
Right.
So that's
I remember
8.5. Say.
I remember reading that one and being quite impressed with you with that.
Thank you. So that's 8.5. Then I've written some novellas too, and some short stories, and I've been in several anthologies.
Right.
So.
I was going to say, I know you've done a lot of anthology work, and that's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really should concentrate more now, I suppose, on getting the novels out there. You know.
It's fun to be able to write these short stories though and submit them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you get sidetracked. You get
Right.
sidetracked.
That's the
Well, you know, you get an idea and you want to put the idea down, and you think, oh, well, this is one idea. I can just write this down in a few days, and then suddenly the idea gets bigger. But
yeah. So, what has been the most, like, the coolest purchase you've ever made as a writer? Another one of my funny.
oh, okay. Um, I just my Kindle, I suppose. Although that was a present.
Okay.
See, I haven't bought a paperback now for about 6 years.
Let's see. Russell Blake, he purchased a walking treadmill
Oh, okay, yeah.
for work, you know?
Oh, yeah, the walking desk, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. There's,
I've had a look at those. I've had a look at those. They are quite expensive, but yeah,
yeah.
no, I haven't really bought myself anything to write with. I mean, I wanted to get a really nice kind of, nice leather bag to carry my laptop around in, but
I did that. Oh my gosh. See my nice leather bag
that's it. Yeah, one of those. Yeah, one of those. Yeah.
by
But
Fry. I love it.
but yeah, but when I'm writing out and about, I'm generally writing on paper, so it's generally notebook.
You write in
But
a notebook? Wait a minute.
sorry.
You write in a notebook?
When I'm writing on location, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, paper notebook. I don't mean like an apple or a banana. I mean, like
I've seen the strangeness a few times in different conventions I've gone to where writers are actually handwriting in notebooks. And I'm like, how does that work? I mean, it's great dedication. So that's fantastic that you.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I have a friend who you've met, a guy called Alan McDermott, who's a
Yes, I know. Mhm.
and if he eventually watches this, hello, Alan. And what he does is he goes because he's from the same town as me. Well, lives in the same town I used to live in when I'm back in England, and he goes to the library 4 days a week and writes in paper, longhand on paper. And
Wow.
the fifth day, he works at home, putting it all onto a computer. And when he puts it onto a computer, that's his first edit.
Okay. Hmm.
And so basically, that counts as his second draft. He put it
Yes.
on the computer. Um, Very rarely do I take my computer out with me. The simple reason that if I'm going somewhere a bit strange to write about, for example, I was in this weird bus stop in Kiev, in the outskirts, and I thought, I'm sitting here, I'm a foreigner, I just want to be writing on paper. Not that it's dangerous, but just in case I lose anything or something gets borrowed from me.
Yes. Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Gosh.
So yeah, and also a little bit of paper is easy to carry around in your pocket than a computer.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Cheryl asks, I always ask, what is the worst review you read about your books and were they?
I got one review I got for my vampire thing. It said it was 1 star and it said wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. I'm just
You were
trying to
right.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, okay, well, you've got me there. It wouldn't happen because vampires aren't real. So okay, great. I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
But please give me 5 stars and say that.
That's funny.
I also got a 1 star review by someone who got confused with the star system. 1 star review, and it said, a great book, really enjoyed this, can't wait for the next. And it was 1 star.
Mhm.
They got the stars confused and clicked 1 rather than 4 or something,
You just never.
And
It's,
yeah.
do you read them every day now, or when you
When I
first?
first
Everyone
when I
does.
first started, I used to.
Yeah.
And because my books were on Kindle at the very beginning, I was one of the first British authors, I think, to kind of write in my genre on Kindle, especially who was self-published at the time. Back in 2008, whenever it was, and I used to get bad reviews in the US because people complained that I misspelt things when it was English spellings,
Right.
and they complained, you know, this book is from a British viewpoint. Yes.
And
Or even though this is written from the viewpoint of a Brit. Okay. Okay. So yeah, it's just
those
difficult, you know.
are not necessary. Yeah.
So I used to read my reviews, and then I went for about 2 years actually being a bit too scared to read any American reviews, because when you first start, they're like, you know, bad reviews like a dagger, and then after that you kind of grow a thick skin, you know. And so now, of course, if I get a bad review, I'm upset, I'm annoyed,
Mhm.
but I get over it because it's one person's opinion.
Right, but
But
it does take your emotional energy at the same time, you know.
yeah, it does.
Mhm.
But what I find strange is that the number of views I get is a lot less than other people who perhaps sell less books than me. Like there was one guy I knew, he's every book you get, you know, every book comes out, I get 50, 100, 200 reviews for it, and he'll sell less than me. So it's weird that kind of like people buy my books but don't review them. And I
Right.
look to myself and I think, do I always review every book I read? Well, you know, I
Yeah.
used to. I don't now because I have the time. So, you know,
So
so
still
I,
held by reviews on Amazon at least. Yeah, the number.
yeah, yeah. What
Cheryl.
about you? What's your worst review then?
Oh Lord. You know, honestly, I don't look at them much anymore either. I have had a few where that's not realistic. You know, yeah,
Did,
it's not. You know, I've had a couple like that. But Cheryl posted, she said, I posted on that review for you, the 1 star. And it's funny how our fans who look at these things, they will come to our defense on
yeah.
those reviews. And then we all get in trouble. So,
Yeah, we get accused that we know these people.
right? But they do,
Yeah,
they're defensive for you, and that's a wonderful
yeah. I mean, Cheryl, thank you very much. You know,
thing. Yeah.
obviously, I'm not saying I don't know you, but it's you know, it's like you know what I mean. It's you know, it's like oh, you've got an army there. You know these people. You're not allowed to review.
Yeah,
Sorry, but
it's pretty funny.
yeah.
Let's see, anybody else have any questions? Please post them. Do you have any, like, where do people find your stuff? We're almost out of time.
Where do people find my what? My stuff?
Yeah, do you have a website?
Oh, I do, but it needs to be updated. Um, the best way to find my stuff is just to Google Amazon. You know, my Amazon author page. Um, my new stuff is coming out in paperback as well. It's going to be in available to order in most good bookshops and some strange ones as well. But most good bookshops will be able to order it there as well as on Amazon. So yeah, I mean the thing is, I, people have author pages, and I started one. And I haven't used it for about 4 years.
Hmm.
So I just, you know, I'd rather people ask me, you know, come on my normal Facebook page and say, hey, where's your stuff, you know. So yeah, Amazon's the best bet,
Yeah.
or Kobo as well now. New
Kobo?
release on Kobo, yeah,
Yeah, very
yeah,
cool. I heard Kobo is doing some kind of they have some kind of new deal with Walmart for ebook.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Ebooks, all right, yeah, yeah.
that's interesting. I don't know much about it, but we'll see if it works out. Hopefully, we'll see if it gives Kindle a run for its money. Who knows,
Well, yes, I mean, yeah. See, the people of Walmart reading ebooks would be good, wouldn't it?
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a huge market. It really is. Uh, yeah. Okay, so is there anything else you want to say about your new release? Is it coming out in audio?
Um, HarperCollins has the right for audio.
Okay,
We're in discussions about that.
cool.
I haven't got any specific release dates for that yet. But I suppose, you know, I just like to say to everyone who's read my stuff, thank you very much. Reviews do help. For those people that haven't read my stuff yet, shame on you.
I know, right? Cheryl,
Sorry, there's been.
guys, I have a meeting. Bye, Cheryl. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. So yeah, I mean, I've just, you know, I need to write more. I know I've been a bit lazy. You know, I've got friends that are just prolific. They're writing the whole time, and they've got day jobs. So I think there's like their focus for that 2 hours at night when they write. You know,
Right. Mhm.
I enjoy what I do, and I'd like to do it a lot more. You know, and I could only do that really if I get the support of readers. You know,
What are you reading right now yourself? Most writers are readers. What are you reading currently?
I'm reading the first of a series of books set in Iceland.
Oh, cool. Do you know the author's name?
I do know the author.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Sometimes my mind is a complete blank.
Oh yeah, same here.
I know the author. I've even met the author. I've even had drinks with the with the author. And do you think I can? Do you think I can remember his name now? Michael Ridpath.
Michael Rigpath.
Yeah, he's an English guy. He used to write about financial things, and then he went into crime fiction. And he's got a series set in Iceland with a detective called Magnus, who is Icelandic, but has gone to the States, grown up in the States. Now he's come back to Iceland to work for the Icelandic Police Department, the Reykjavik Police Department, because he's an expert on criminal investigations and murders, and so he's kind of come to give them lots of help there.
Yeah, well, you were definitely like on the right track, writing stories in the Ukraine and Iceland and all these, like that's an interesting part of the world that Americans don't really know a ton about.
Yeah. Well, I've got another friend who all his books are set in Thailand and
Cool.
Also in the Far East. A guy called Jake Needham, and
Yeah.
his stuff's really good as well. And when I read a book, I like to learn something new about a country. I don't read books that are based in small English towns or small English villages. I mean, Miss Marple was great when I was a kid watching it on TV, but I wouldn't read anything like that, not because I don't think it's good, but because it's not my cup of tea,
Right.
I like to travel from my armchair,
Yeah.
I like interesting things, so I like books by Mark Greaney because they're going around the world,
I met Mark. Great guy. Yeah, definitely. Have you sold any movie rights to any of your books yet? Because they are definitely destined that way.
Thank you. Yeah. There's been something in the background going on for about 2 years now, with Cold East, and potentially with Cold Black and maybe Cold Blood. I can't say much more about it.
Have Tom Cruise be Aidan Snow?
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, if I can't play myself, then I don't know. I quite like Gerard Butler to be him. Not This Is Sparta. This is Worthing. He do it in my hometown. He do that quite well. But it's always exciting. I mean, a friend of mine had their book optioned by Leonardo DiCaprio.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and that was a couple of years ago now. Hasn't happened yet, but it's a very strange business, because another friend of mine had a book optioned last year for TV. And they have X amount of time. They pay you a fee, X amount of time to make it in. Right. Otherwise, it lapses.
Yeah.
But
they make a living off of selling their rights perpetually, which is amazing.
That's it. Yeah.
I wish I had that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Jake Needham sold the rights to Big Mango's first book to James Gandolfini. The guy from the what do you call it? That crime thing set in New Jersey.
The Mob.
You can see how much TV I watch recently.
Yeah, I don't know either. Yeah, I don't watch much television. I read all the time.
Italian mafia based in New Jersey. I can't remember the name of it. Song goes, woke up this morning, got yourself a gun. I can't remember it. I don't know. Anyway, I must be awful. I'm losing viewers and readers here because I think, God, he knows nothing.
I'm currently reading this, The War of, and I highly recommend it.
Anyway. Like self-help thing, is it? Or
it is sort of. It is written by Stephen Pressfield, and he wrote. I can't remember the name of the book, but it was this wonderful novel about the Battle of Thermopylae. Historic battle, and but this is great for writers. It's fantastic for writers because it tells you why you resist writing when you sit down. And great advice. It's changing. So I would highly recommend this. It's fantastic. But he tells you all the things of why you're resisting. Because we both know that whenever you sit down at that computer and you need to write, you think of a million other things that you could go do, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I think the only thing that gets me writing is being told I've got a big long list of housework to do, and
right.
if the option is, do the washing, do the laundry, or Hoover, vacuum clean, or write, I think, I thought I'd do a bit of writing. I've got an idea.
But, writing, I've got to get done. Yeah. Well, Alex, thank you so much for coming on. This has been great. We've known each other for years, but never have spoken face to face.
I know, it's terrible, isn't it?
You're going to have to go to Thriller Fest in New York next year so we can actually meet.
Yeah, you know what? I really want to try and do Thriller Fest next year. Yeah.
Alan McDermott ride the plane over.
That's it. Yeah. Come over with Alan. Yeah. Well, if I do come, I'll probably come straight from Qatar, so it's gonna. So
that'll be a little diversion. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I'll have to go via London. So yeah, I'll pick him up. I'll save the seats.
Come on over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and thank you everyone there watching and asking questions or just laughing in the background at me.
And read Cold Blood, and congratulations.
Please do so. Yeah, read Cold Blood, Cold Black, and Cold East.
Yes.
And then buy them in paperback.
Okay. Bye, Alex.
Thank you, Annette. Bye-bye.